It is Cavebird again. We are still on session 1 of our playthrough of Forbidden Caverns of Archaia and Dungeon Crawl Classics. I apologize for the sound quality of the last video. I'm still in the learning process of setting up this home studio and the recording devices and editing software. Let's go over a few things. We left off with our party at Dragon's Teeth Hinge, where they were ambushed at night by a small group of orcs, and a few people were injured, but Kalain was going to heal Vercingetorix. So I'm going to make these rolls public here. Let me get my dice out. He has to roll. He has a +2 to his caster level and wisdom score, or rather personality score. So he needs to roll at least a 12 or a 10 on the dice, and he fails. He rolls an 8 on the dice. He does not heal Vercingetorix during the night, and he accrues disappointment from Veridicus, his god. I'm going to roll to see if he wants to try again and risk it. 1 and 3 he does. Yes, he rolled a 2. He's going to try once again after 10 minutes of prayer and repentance to see if he can do this, and he does. He rolls a 13 on the dice, and Veridicus will gain, let me get my d12 out, 8 points of 8 hit points back. So Veridicus, it was down to 9. He will be back up to full hit points. And the disappointment from Veridicus will disappear on the following day. Aerolith is denied magical healing, but everyone is going to get a full rest of sleep after the orc encounter, so I'm going to roll 1d3. He gets 3 hit points back, so Aerolith is back up to full hit points of 8. The other character that was injured, I believe, was Kalain himself. He is not going to attempt to heal himself. He is down to 11 out of 14. He will rest and also get 3 hit points back. So he will be back up to full hit points in the morning. So that's good. Okay. The calendar day of the next day of the month. Once again, I'm just using this Greyhawk calendar. It will be the 14th of the month of planting on the following morning of our adventure here. And real quick, I mentioned something about this in session 0. This is, I've got printed up on the back of their character sheets there, encumbrance sheets, and I'm sorry for the lighting here. I don't know if you can see this. This is a slot-based encumbrance sheet. On the left-hand side, you have what they can wear or carry by hand. You have a backpack option, satchel or quiver options. And on the right-hand side, you have small sack, large sack, and stuff that they might put in a storage or vault and a bank account. So I did remove 2 arrows from Aerolith's quiver. He is down to 23 arrows. He only brought 1 quiver with him. So, also I want to make note here in my notebook for you all. I am keeping track of session 1 or delve 1. So this is the I don't know if you guys can see that. It's really bright. This is just the XP tracker that I keep track of for monster slain, treasure acquired, and feats accomplished. in 3 different columns here. Monsters, they've slain 7 orcs and gained 70 XP for it. And on the orcs' bodies were only 44 electrum pieces of treasure. When they get back to Eastdale, to town, they will gain or share that XP amongst all 6 of them, or the only survivors left. Okay. So, we are going to roll for a hazard as our adventurers set off across the wasteland once again. If you remember this map of the area, they are in the middle point here at Dragon's Teeth Hinge, and they will be traveling to the northeast towards the mountain with the plume of smoke. It's about 10 miles from their position. But I'm going to roll a hazard per the rules of Forbidden Caverns to see if they encounter something dangerous on the way. They've all set out about 9 a.m. in the morning. I know that was redundant, a.m. morning. So here we have our hazard table. I'm going to roll a d10 on the hazard table. 4. They got lucky. There is no hazard on their journey to the sunken city in the Caverns of Archaia. As they approach, the canyon comes into view, vast and deep. It is plateaued or somewhat like a mesa with almost labyrinthine in appearance. It is very deep, several hundred feet, approximately 800 feet deep, with large rocky plateaus or mesa formations protruding from the bottom. There is, let me get my map out here. This is the view that our adventurers can see. And they are approaching from the southwest, where you see the trail in the dotted line. And on this map you can see the darker the gray, the higher the elevation. So the light areas, the white areas are the canyon floor, and the dark areas are the elevation parts of it. As you can see, there are it's almost a maze-like formation. I'm going to pull out a zoomed in part of this map of their approach. As I said, they're approaching on this dotted line here. It's somewhat like a trail all around the canyon, and even in the canyon walls and on the canyon floor they perceive ruins, obviously artificial structures of walls and towers and buildings and perhaps temples. As they peer over the edge of the canyon, the trail that they are on leads to a switchback trail down the steep canyon wall, at the bottom of which they can see a large rubble pile that was a rock slide in recent times. Upon the heights up here, they can also perceive a crevice in the floor to their north, and several cave entrances and archways in the ruins of the sunken city. It is eerily quiet. In the distance, they see the fiery mountain with the now large plume of smoke clearly visible on the far north and east side of this canyon, which must go on for at least 3 or more miles off into the distance. in the hazy distance. Zyma shows everybody the switchback trail, and she says, "It has been a while since I've traveled to the floor of this desolate and evil place. I know some of my people live down there, but where I do not know. We must be cautious, because there are many foul and dangerous things, not just creatures, but hazards ahead of us on our journey." Mad Martin says, "Well, we have 1 day left of water. I suggest that we spend the rest of this day looking for some kind of water source, or else we must leave and travel through the night and try to make our way back to Eastdale before we thirst to death." All are in agreement, and all carefully and as quietly as possible begin the slow trek down the switchback trail. The time they begin down the trail is 3 p.m. and they make it down the trail. They see a cave some several hundred feet off to their south and east. However, it is a sheer cliff and they are not able to reach it. They all agree that they'll eventually come back to that when they have the supplies they need. At the bottom of the switchback trail, there is a large rock slide, rubble pile of scree that has slid down the cavern face. Aerolith suggests, now that we are on the floor, let me climb to the top of that rubble just ahead of us, to the north there, and I will see what I can see. So they all agree, and he's, after some time, at the bottom of the canyon. By the way, it took 3 turns, so it is 3:30, and by the time he gets on top of this rubble pile to take a look around, it is 3:40 p.m. He reports back to the group that he sees a cave to their direct east. It's over here. And to their northeast, he sees another cave in this large rock formation structure jutting out of the canyon floor. And to the northwest, he can see the crevice, though, and there are ruins all scattered and piled up and tossed over all about this crevice. To the direct west of this rubble pile, he sees another. It's not a cave, it is some kind of archway. It looks to be part of the old city, as well as an arch some distance above the canyon floor, and way off in the distance, as far as his elf eyes can see, he sees another cave near the canyon floor itself to the far north. He consults with the group and tells them what he's discovered, and they are going to have to make a choice. The sun will be going down soon. Where are we going to spend the night? Where are we going to enter and try to discover? They all agree that there are 3 nearby options. This one labeled number 15, this one labeled letter A, and this one labeled number 1. They are going to vote on which one to take. So there are 6 characters. This will be 1 to 2, this will be 3 to 4, and this will be 5 to 6 on a d6 dice roll. So here's the first 3. We have 2 for this cave over here, and we have 1 for this cave over here. The next 3 vote. 2 more So 4 out of 7 vote to go to the nearby cave directly to the east. It is some 600 yards, or excuse me, 200 yards, 600 feet to the east. Halfstep says, well, that's probably the closest one to us besides the one directly in front of us, so perhaps we will find water in this cave nearby. They begin traveling and enter the hex, or enter the space away from the canyon wall. I am going to roll for another hazard, a 1. Let's see what a 1 does on the hazard table inside the canyon itself. So we have orcs, and they are fighting with kobolds over. Let's see what they're fighting for. That is a 5 on the dice over coin. Interesting. The direction that this is taking place in is in their path near the canyon wall, and they see it in the distance about 100 foot in front of them. The battle is raging, and it looks as if the orcs are winning this battle. The adventurers are able to casually stroll up to a single orc and a strange small bipedal creature with a dog-like face, 2 devilish horns and a tail. They are in a tug-of-war struggle over a small satchel.
Thief! Let go! I pilfered this coin fair and square. Unhand me loot, you big stupid orc! This here's a tax. It's a fee for protection from Clan Manflesh. Let go, you little bastard, or I'll bash in your head and cut off your tail.
And what, pray tell, is the meaning of this? Vercingetorix holds his sword's grip, still sheathed, but makes it clearly seen. The orc turns around, still clutching the sack of coin, the kobold hanging on desperately.
Hew damn! This here orc stole me rightful treasure, he did. 45 coppers in there. My lord, please help me. By Empirix, judge between us here. Stay out of this, human. This is Clan Manflesh business. The kobolds owes us.
Zyma jingles her purse of coin.
This is all that remains of the last orc who used threats against me.
Who procured these goods in the sack you struggle over?
Me! O tall and shrouded Hunam, 'twas me in that there cave yonder.
And do you or your people owe a debt to the orcs?
Nay, he lies and bullies us. By the law of Empirix, we is bigger, so we may take what we want.
By the same law, we are more numerous. Therefore, we may adjudicate this matter. It is 6 swords versus 1 orc. Now, restore to the little one what is his. The orc releases his grip from the sack of coin and glares at Mad Martin and his companions.
What are you looking at, you ugly beast? Just remembering your faces, elf, for the next time we meet. Then will we be more in number, and by Empiric's law, slaughter. You, tall-robed one, he says, pointing at Mad Martin. I will personally rip off your head and drink from your skull.
Away then, off with you, coward. Go to your friends and come and find me again." The orc stomps off to the north. The kobold is jubilant in praises.
"Me lords, thank ye, wise and strong Hunams, thank ye. Ye have made a friend amongst the kobolds today."
Kalain says, "You're welcome, and we won't harass you over your coin, but in compensation, perhaps it is fitting and just to pay us with some information."
"That seems fair. Kagosh is at your service."
"Where can we find fresh and clean water near here?"
"Water is everywhere, me lords. There in the cave, to the south. You'll find it sure."
"Any danger in there?"
"Oh, yes. That be the home of old Spindlelegs. He lives deep in there and he always be hungry. Just keep a light lit."
"Spindlelegs?"
"A right shit he is. Well, if you would like, please come and seize my master in that cave over there," he says, pointing to the north. "Ye are strong and worthy, and we've been looking for a hardy band of adventurers to help us poor kobolds with a rather small matter. My master will pay you well. When you enter our lair, do not go knock on the door. Stand back and declare Red Tails is your friends, and you beg friendly audience with the big yen, see?"
"Perhaps, little friend, we will take you up on that offer. Farewell." The kobold scurries off with his sack of coin. Half-Step says, "We should be cautious with these little imps. I don't trust anyone here. But enemies with the orcs are friends of mine." "Agreed. But first things first, let us see if we may discover any water in here." He lights his lantern as they head down natural stone steps into the mouth of the dark and foul-smelling cave.